Hey, good evening, everybody. Hoan here. It is late. Thank you guys for joining me. And when I'm up late at night, sometimes my brain just goes a mile a minute. So, how I clear my thoughts? Well, I hop on YouTube or Facebook, and here we are. And let's just have a conversation about business because business runs through my mind 24/7, 365. I'm always thinking about a new business to start. I'm always thinking about how can I improve on the businesses that I have. And then the number one thought that runs through my brain is how do I help other people improve on their business? Because I love business so much. It's just like it just dominates my thoughts. And so I constantly think, "Oh, people would love to hear about that. People would love to implement that and let me do this so that they don't hold themselves back." So I always think, "What can I do and what can I share to take somebody to that next level?" And so today I'm going to be talking about just business and wisdom and what I've been through so that when you go apply it to your own life, you can take it to the next level, and then you can call me back and be like, "Hone, I did that thing that you talked about." So let's talk about the live stream that I did this morning with Sean. Um, we talked about the guru thing. People talk about gurus. They always put gurus down like, oh my gosh, these people, they're charging money to teach you and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, look, if they're giving me their time, if they're giving me value, I'm going to pay them. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that because, like, you go to work and then you expect your boss to pay you. So if somebody's teaching you and adding value to your life, why do you expect that to be free? And so I'm going to be discussing, though, what the breakdown is between that. So there's this four-step process that will get you to where you're trying to go. It is knowledge, confidence, action, results. Again, knowledge, confidence, action, results. These are the four steps to get you to that next level. And where people have that breakdown is they get the knowledge and then they hope to get the result. The result is what you're after, but they lack the execution to get that result. They think if they have the knowledge, then they should get the result. And so this is why people get upset. They pay the money, they get the knowledge, and then they don't have the result. They blame the guru, and it's like, oh man, see that person, this is why I hate gurus and all that kind of stuff. And the problem with that is it's not their fault. It's actually kind of like yours, right? It's your fault because you miss the two steps in the middle, and that's the confidence and the action. The confidence and the action. And I say oftentimes that you don't have the confidence because you don't really have the knowledge. If you really had the knowledge, if you really, really, truly had the knowledge, then you would have confidence. Think about tying your shoes. You know it so well, you know how to tie your shoes so well that you don't lack any confidence. When your shoes untied, you just bend down and you go at it, right? You just tear that sneaker up and you tie it. But if you didn't have that knowledge, if you weren't confident in the knowledge, you'd just be like, oh, I don't know. Remember when you were like 5 years old trying to learn how to tie your sneaker? And you'd be like, Mom, can you help me? Right? So that's the same thing with like real estate investing. A lot of people are trying to get into real estate, but they don't really have the knowledge, and so they lack the confidence. And because they lack the confidence, they don't take the action. They don't take the action. They don't get the result. You guys see how that works? It's incredibly powerful. Like I've been kicking this one around for years, right? That knowledge, confidence, action, results. Without the knowledge, without the confidence, all that kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. You get it. You know what's silly? You know what's really silly? That thing that says today on the Hone Zone, that's backwards. And it's backwards because on Zoom, it's back when it's backwards. That's how it works. Like it works out well um, because Zoom mirrors it, but whatever. Let's put a brick wall. All right. So let's keep on going. Um, knowledge, confidence, action, results. You want the results, you pay the guru to get the knowledge because you think knowledge equals results, but it does not. And that is the breakdown that people have. It is not that knowledge equals results. Knowledge is not power. There's that step in between, which is action, but in order to take the action, you have to have the confidence. In order to have the confidence, you have to have mastery around the knowledge. And what's interesting is sometimes the only way to get that mastery around the knowledge is to have taken action, get kicked in the face a couple of times, and that's when you really learn it. That's the crazy part, right? Isn't that the crazy part? I don't mean for you to go out there and just take action and then lose a whole bunch of money and get kicked around and lose all your enthusiasm, because no, that is not what I'm talking about at all. But what I am talking about is maybe go out there and talk to people who have been kicked around and gain some gain some experience from them, but you want to know a basic foundation about how the process works so that you can have a good conversation. People often want to have more answers, but it's not the answers that you need, it's better questions. If you had better questions, if you went to a mentor with better questions, they can give you a better answer. The problem is you don't have a good question. People come to me sometimes and they're like, Hone, how do I invest in real estate? That's a terrible question. It's just too broad. There's no meat to that. There's no substance to that. It's like, okay, where do we begin, right? But if you're like, Hone, I'm looking to refinance a property, what's the debt service coverage ratio that a bank is asking for? And then there's a better response, right? Like I can give you a better answer. So, and if you're watching this, I'd love to hear where you have your breakdowns, or if any of what I'm saying is resonating with you, right? If knowledge, confidence, action, results, this is like my key thing. Does that resonate with you? Have you experienced that not having knowledge, then gaining the confidence, taking action, and getting the result, that it worked that way for you in your life as well? I'd love to hear it. Put it in the comment and let's have a conversation, right? This late night business conversation, late night business chat. It's only a chat if two people are talking. If it's just me talking into the camera, then it's not a real good conversation. But so people are interested in starting their businesses. They want to have the result, but they don't take the action, and then they just get flustered. They get flustered. But in order to get the really good knowledge, sometimes you have to have really good questions. And in order to have really good questions so that you can get really good answers, you have to understand the fundamentals of how a business works. So let me break that down to you as well. So with real estate investing, there's, again, 4 steps. Find it, fund it, fix it, flip it. Okay, first you find the property, right? Actually, you know what? Let me use some technology. Let me help you guys out a little bit. Boom, technology. It's crazy, crazy stuff, right? And so, like I was saying, like first step, and I'll make my marker fatter. So first step is you find it, and then you fund it, and then you fix it, and then you flip it. Okay, find, fund, fix, flip. This is how real estate deals are broken up. So step 1, find the property. By finding the property, you are then able, right, let me get rid of this thing too, or let me just make it smaller. Okay, so first you find the property, right? You find the property. How do you find the property? Well, you go through there's a million different ways. There's a million different ways to find a property. You can talk to your neighbor and find a property. You can talk to a real estate agent and find a property. You can go to an auction, find a property. There's like a million different ways to find a property, but that's step number 1. You got to be able to find the property. And then step number 2, you got to find the money, funding. So people are like, "Oh, no, I don't got any money. How do I invest in real estate if I don't have any money?" Well, stop looking at your pocket, because we already know that you're broke, because you already told me you were broke. So stop telling me about how you don't have any money, because I already know that. So how do you fund the deal? Well, use other people's money. That's one of the great things about real estate investing. I don't like real estate investing, but I do real estate investing because there's these strategies like OPM, using other people's money. OPM, using other people's money to invest in your deals, is a powerful way, because what happens is that you're using other people's money to buy a property that has equity. So when you're using their money to buy the property, your net worth goes up, and then you pay them back, and then their net worth goes up, and then you both win. How amazing is that, right? People think that, oh, that's weird. How you're borrowing people's money? Hey, you're not doing they're not doing you a favor. You're doing them a favor, right? Because you're the skilled operator. There's money everywhere. You got to come to that situation and say, like, I am the prize, right? I'm the prize. I'm the operator. I'm the one going out there and finding these properties. I'm the one going out there and putting in my sweat equity so that this thing can be more valuable, and then I can pay you back, and we both get rich, right? So I'm the prize here, not you. I appreciate your cash, but let's work together and let's get this, right? Let's get this money. So next one is funding. So you got to learn all of the ways to creatively figure out how to find the funding. There's very traditional ways, like, oh, I'm going to put 20% down on the property and get a bank loan and blah, blah, blah. Like, there's traditional ways, but then there's all of these other ways to do it. And if you don't know that they exist, right? If you don't know that these funding sources exist, then you're limited to what's in your pocket, and that's the problem. That's the problem, right? Because your brain is just like hyper focused on what's in your pocket, and you already know that there's nothing in there. Why do you keep looking there? Why do you keep looking there? And the reason you keep looking in there is because you don't know where else to look. And that's where the education comes in. That's where the knowledge comes in. That's where the guru comes in, who can teach you how to find more money, right? People get so pissed off about gurus and they have such a bad name and all that kind of stuff. That's how I got started. I paid somebody to teach me how to invest. And if I didn't pay them to teach me how to invest, I wouldn't be talking to you today about becoming an investor, right? I couldn't share with you my knowledge if I didn't have any knowledge. What could I be sharing, right? Anyway, three, fix. So of course that's easy. Fix the property, but you got to learn how to fix the property as well. And I don't necessarily mean like you got to know like the type of 2x4 that you use and the screwdrivers and the hammers and blah blah blah. Like I don't mean that you need to know those things, but you have to have some idea of what goes on. Like you see all these bricks, like you got to know that there's bricks, and that if this is a crack, right? If this were a crack, it's like, oh, maybe that's structural. I don't know. Like you gotta know a little bit so that when somebody's doing something wrong, like let's say like this, right? They put a piece of wood in there because there was no brick there, and you were just like, oh well, I guess it works, right? Like you gotta be a little smart when it comes to the fixing part, that part three there, right? You gotta be a little bit on the ball. You can't just leave it, right, to the professionals to do it, but you do rely on their expertise. You do definitely rely on their expertise because that's why you hire them, right? I like to hire people who are smarter than me. So I hire people in the construction field who are smarter than me, who can take it over, and I don't have to micromanage. Most of the time on my properties, I am not there for like, I go there maybe like once a week, twice a week, just to check in on the progress. I get pictures sent to me, things like that. But for the most part, I trust in their expertise and their knowledge. And if I didn't, they'd be the wrong person to hire. But I need to be in there a little bit and just to understand what's going on, so that if something is wrong or something's happening that I don't like, then I can make course corrections before they go too far. Because if they completely install the whole thing and it's all messed up, it's like, dang, I wish I would have directed them a little earlier. So the fix part, number three, that's where a lot of investors get into a lot of hot water. They get into a lot of hot water because contractors mess up things, right? And you catch it after the fact. And when you catch it after the fact, you're like, oh my gosh. And here's the thing. If they blow it, right, and they use your money and they build this house that's all messed up, and you're like, I got to rip all this out and redo it. Well, guess what? You now have to pay for it twice, right? You got to pay for it twice. And now people are like, oh, well, just sue the contractor. Well, good luck. Go try it, right? How long does that take, right? And if you were on part two with the funding, maybe you used hard money and that clock is ticking, right? And so you're like, yeah, I'm going to sue the contractor and get my money back. Well, what if that takes months? How much in financing costs did you spend just waiting for the contractor to pay you back? Like, that sucks too. So you have to be very careful, and you got to know all of these moving pieces. But it's not that crazy because here I broke it down into the 4 steps. So the fourth step, right? The fourth step is flip. And now the flip part could mean to sell the property to a homeowner at the end, or it could mean to flip it to long-term financing like a bank, so that you can hang on to the property for a long period of time. So this is how you generate rentals. So when I find the property and then I fund it and then I fix it, I flip it to long-term financing and I put a tenant in there. And this is how I build my net worth and my wealth for long periods of time, because I buy a property, I hold on to that property is generating me income, right? The property is generating me income, and I just hang on to it, and I don't have to find another property because that one's still producing. Now I go out and find more properties because I want to continue to create my portfolio, so I buy more properties. Now if I am in a situation where I want some money, I may sell the property. I do sell properties from time to time. If it doesn't work, if geographically it doesn't work, like I'm here, the property's there, it's just a headache, then sell the headache, get rid of it. It's okay. Like, I've sold tons of properties, and when I look back, I never think about it. I never go, oh man, I wish I would have kept that. It's just kind of like, yo, sell it and forget it. Just keep on moving, keep on trucking, right? Keep on trucking. So let's see. Let me bring some people up. Here we go. Xavier, appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate you watching it. Felton, great points. Thanks, my man. Thanks for watching. And we got Mike Brown. Good content, Hoan. Thanks. Thanks. I appreciate that as well. All right. So these are the four, right? So these are the four: find, fund, fix, flip. Now, you gotta ask yourself, what are your immediate needs and what are your long term needs. So like it's typically, what is it, short term, long term, right? Short term, long term. What do you need? Like, how much money do you need? Like right now, maybe you need $10,000, but then long term, what are your what's your vision, right? How much money do you need long term? How much do you need in a reserve account? So let's say that you wanted $50,000 in reserve, just a savings account, something like that, right? Just in case. So we got to figure out, one, how to meet your short-term needs, because your short-term needs are typically because you have bills to pay, right? You have bills to pay and you have deadlines to meet. So how do we get you your short-term goals? So let's figure out your short-term goals. Now, a rental property may not be a good short-term solution, right? Getting $10,000 from a rental property may or may not be a way. Now, it could be. It could be. Actually, let me go through that real quick. So there's this thing called a BRRRR strategy. BRRRR strategy. That's where you buy it, and then this one, you buy it and you renovate it. Reno. You rent, refinance, and then this one is repeat. Okay? So we got buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. The refinance part right here, right? The refinance part, that's the key for you to meet your short-term goal. So if your short-term goal is $10,000, the refinance part is the key for you to meet that short-term goal. And what do I mean by that? Let's play a game. So let's pretend like you bought a property for $75,000 and then you put in $50,000 worth of work, and that is $125,000. Okay, so far so good. So what we're going to do is we're going to tell the bank that the property is worth $200,000, right? So you bought the property, it was a dump, and you bought it for $75,000. You put $50,000 into it. It's worth, or you're all in for 125. You tell the bank it's worth $200,000. The bank is like, hey, we'll give you a loan for $150,000, and you're like, fantastic, I'll take it. So you got a loan for $150,000, and what you did with that loan of $150,000 is you paid back your $125,000 that you borrowed. Remember, OPM, other people's money. You don't have any money to invest in real estate. So how did you get the money? You borrowed it, and you borrowed $125,000 from your Uncle Tom, and then your uncle and aunt were like, here you go, here's $125,000, and you told them like, hey, I'm gonna give you $10,000, right? So you owe them $135,000. Of the 150, you gave them 135, and let's pretend like there was $5,000 in closing costs. So that's 140. You borrowed 150. 150 minus 140 equals 10K. Boom. You see how you get your 10K and you meet your short-term goal, right? So your short-term goal was $10,000. So by doing a BRRRR, and we what we did was a cash out refinance. You bought the property for $75,000. You put $50,000 into it to fix it up, all in for 125. You borrowed that money from Aunt Kathy. Kathy gave you the 125. You told Kathy that you're gonna pay her back 135. When you went to the bank, it appraised for $200,000. You got the loan for 150. You paid Aunt Kathy back 135. $5,000 in closing costs. So what is left over right there? Bing, bang, boom. $10,000. So you met your short-term goals. So then you're like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. So now we have a longer term goal. It's let's have $50,000 in our reserve, in some kind of account. And so I'm gonna mix two things at one time, right? So the goal is, next step, I want $50,000 in reserve, right? I want $50,000 in reserve. And The question is, how am I going to make $50,000? Well, there's a trillion ways to make $50,000, but let's talk about a couple. So you can try to do what you just did again. Like you can do the cash out refinance and all that kind of stuff, right? And have buy another property, have another $10,000, or you can have a $50,000 event. I don't know, but there's a couple of different things. You can also wholesale a property. That's where instead of buying that property and renovating it and refinancing and all that kind of stuff, you just get the property under contract and you provide it to somebody else, and you say, hey, I found this property. You can put all kinds of money into it. You can make all kinds of money. Pay me, and I'll let you buy the property. So they may agree, and let's say they give you $20,000, right? Let's say they give you $20,000. So there we go. We wholesaled a property, right? We wholesaled a property, and you made $20,000 there. And maybe you did it twice just to make it easy, right? You did that 2 times. So now you're at $40,000. Man, this looks terrible. My handwriting is horrible. Let me get rid of all of this. This is garbage. Okay. 2 times, and it was $20,000 a piece. You did wholesale, right? Wholesale. So you're at $40,000. So we only need $10,000 more, right? And so we need another $10,000. So how do we make $10,000? Well, maybe let me see. I'm like making things up at the top of my head, right? $10,000. You find some young kid who's interested in doing a BRRRR strategy, right? This is what we talked about up here, BRRRR, right? Maybe BRRRR strategy, and then they're looking to get into the business, and you said, hey, I'm going to coach you for the next 10, or I'm going to coach you for the next year, pay me $10,000 up front, right? And so there you go. So what you're doing is you're getting paid to help somebody else get rich, right? You're going to show them how to buy assets. You're going to show them how to analyze a deal, how the construction works, whatever. You can consult on things. You can manage their construction. There's a lot of things that could go into that. That's up to you guys to hash out what's included in that $10,000 fee. But voila, you got the 40 plus 10, and that's $50,000. Okay, so that's how you hit your reserve. So now I said I'm going to blend two things. So the two things I'm blending is, number one, how did you make that $50,000? I just went over 2 ways on how you were making that money. So you made $50,000. Now the second thing is, where do you put that money? Where do you put that money? Indeed, that is the question. How do you store this reserve money? And I'm going to show it to you in a couple of different ways. So most people, right? What do most people do? How do they put their money away? Well, they'll just put it in their checking account. So that's the obvious answer, right? I'm just going to put the money in my checking account, and voila, it's in there. Okay, cool. Got it. Okay. So how much does that money grow? How quickly? Does it grow at all? Does it have any return? And the answer is nah, right? So the con of the checking account is that it doesn't grow much. And then it's like, all right, so what do I do? What do I do? Where do I put that money? Where do I put that money? Hoan's right. What do I do? Okay, so maybe you put it in a money market account, but very similar to the checking account, it doesn't really grow much. So I'm going to just lump those together. Checking account, money market account, blah. Okay, so then people are like, okay, maybe I'll take the money and I'll put it into the market. Okay, cool. So when the market goes up, the money goes up. And then when the market goes down, your $50,000 reserve is not $50,000 anymore. So the bad part about putting the money in the market is it fluctuates, right? And you're like, oh, I don't know. I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. That's not good either, right? All right, cool. So what else? Where else can I put $50,000? And feel free to chime in. I haven't given away the answer yet, right? And there is no right or wrong answer. There's just an answer that I go by based on different things that I know about and I want to share with you, right? But where would you put your $50,000 reserve, or if whatever amount, it doesn't really matter. What have you done? Other people are like, oh, well, Hoan, if I had $50,000 and I wanted to put it away as like a rainy day account, I'm gonna just use the money to buy more properties, right? So maybe you can buy a property. So property, ooh, terrible. Okay, so you can buy a property. What's the problem with having your money in the property? It's not very liquid. So if I need the money today, I can't get it. But how can we do it? Maybe that $50,000 to buy a property, it's all cash. You put it into the property and then you take a line of credit out against the property. That's not bad. That one's not bad. You buy a property free and clear, $50,000 or whatever, and then you get a HELOC on it, or just a business line of credit against that property. And so if you need the money's there. Does it make a difference? And this is going to stretch your brain a little bit, right? Because people think in order to have reserve, right? People think that like their rainy day account needs to be liquid cash somewhere. Like you need to have $50,000, but it doesn't need to be liquid cash, because let's think about what is the rainy day account for? What do you use those money? What will you use that money for? And the reality is, it's like in case something happens. So let's talk about what is that in case something happens. They're like, oh well, what if my car crashes and I need to buy a brand new car? Okay, great, great. So how do you buy a car now? How do you buy a car now? Well, you go to a store, you go to a dealership, whatever, and you either get credit to buy the car or you buy it in cash. If you had a line of credit right now for, let's say, $25,000 and the car was $20,000, could you just buy that car with the line of credit? Could you take 20,000 out and pay for the car? And the answer is yes, right? The answer is yes. So you could have reserves for emergency purposes that isn't actually cash. And that's the really cool thing, that it's not cash that you saved. It's not money that you made wholesaling or selling coaching or anything like that. It's none of that. It is availability. It's cash that's available to you from the bank or your credit card company or whatever, right? They are giving you the money. They have it on reserve for you, and you can tap that whenever you need. It's like just having a credit card now. When things go wrong, you use your credit card. Poor people use their credit cards because they don't have the cash, and that's okay. But if you're doing better in life and you're worried about like something happening, lines of credit are as good as cash. Because if you were to pay me money, do I care whether it was your cash or your credit or your line of credit or your credit cards or this or that? Does that matter? No, because at the end of the day, when the money goes into my account, I can spend it. So I don't care where it comes from. And so when you're in an emergency, don't think that you just you only have to have cash, or you can only have cash in a checking account or something like that. You don't. So owning a property is a neat way to have that reserve and then get a line of credit against that property. Now, what's the downfall of the line of credit against this property? The bank can pull the line. They can just be like, well, for whatever reason, we don't want you to have this line anymore. And they can kill the line, right? They can kill the line, and that's the downfall. Um, and so checking account, let's backtrack. Checking account doesn't grow. Putting it in the market has too much volatility. Having it in a property, there's no liquidity, and having a line of credit against the property provides you the liquidity, but that line can be pulled, right? That line can be pulled. And so those are like the pros and cons. I'm going to leave you guys with one more, and this is the one I do. Life insurance. Did you know that you could put money into a life insurance policy in the cash value bucket of the life insurance policy? And that cash value can be used for anything you want, whether you want to buy a car, pay for a wedding, buy your dream house, pay for your kids' college, or just have it as an emergency fund, right? A whole life insurance policy. I don't mean like go out and buy term. A whole life insurance policy has a component of it called cash value. That cash value has value and can be used for things like this, like holding your $50,000 in reserve. Now, you have to talk to the right broker to understand how to structure this. By the way, shameless plug, by the way, am a life insurance broker now because I loved what you could do with it. I love the ideas of how you can use life insurance to save money, grow money, and use it for investments, right? It's like a secret, right? That rich people have been what rich people knew about for a very long time and use in their own life to protect their wealth. When I learned about it, even though I've been a real estate investor for a long time and doing all these other things, when I learned about this life insurance stuff, immediately I was like, I need to be in. I need to be in. And so I studied all about how to do it, and I joined a company that is where all of the employees of this company, or not even employees, we're just all part of the company, where we all are real estate investors. That's really cool. When a whole company, every member from the founder to all of the salespeople, they're all real estate investors, including me. So when I joined, it was the perfect fit because what we do is we take these life insurance policies and we show people how to use your life insurance policies to buy more real estate or to fund your business ventures, whatever it is, right? And to save your money in reserve. The other thing that I didn't mention about the checking account and all those kind of things is that can be seen. How much money is in your checking account can be seen if somebody were trying to sue you or if you were trying to file bankruptcy and all that kind of stuff. Like they can get at stuff like that. They can go after your properties. They can go after the money you have in the market. They can go after your checking account. Guess where they can't go after? You guessed it. The money that's in your life insurance policy. The cash value that I build up can't be touched by the creditors. It can't be touched by a lawsuit. This money is protected. It's really crazy what you can do with this life insurance stuff. And this is a little like people don't talk about this. I don't know why. Everybody talks about the other three. It's not like the other three are cool, but it's an incomplete package. Like maybe have all four. Have all four because each one has its own pro and con. And the life insurance, the con of the life insurance is that you have to have long-term vision and long-term execution. So meaning you have to have discipline. But if you have discipline, then the life insurance one, it's tough to beat. Got to take a drink out of my large glass of water. I have been talking to you guys for 32 minutes straight. And nobody talks back. Is this what it was like when we were kids and we were just like talking to our imaginary friend? Are you guys my imaginary friends? Are you even my friend? 32 minutes of talking to nobody. But thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, right? So $50,000 goes into your life insurance bucket. You got to know how to put it in there, though, because you can't just dump in $50,000. That's a no-no. That's a no-no. There are ways to dump in the 50,000, but you got to know how. And I can break that down for you in a different conversation. Feel free to message me if you're like, oh my gosh, I got to learn more. We can talk. I can structure something for you. But that's where I would put my money. It grows like a weed. It's super protected. And those two things, grows fast and protected, is what I thoroughly enjoy about the life insurance policy. And it's liquid, right? It's liquid. You can access the money quickly. So out of these four, where I would put my reserve money for like rainy day account, life insurance. That's where it goes. That's where it goes. Really cool stuff. And you can have one. Your wife can have one. Your kids, you can have a policy for your kids so that they can start saving money for their retirement, for their future financial needs, like all in that life insurance policy. It's really, really cool. Again, it's like I'm in it, right? Not only am I a broker for it, all that stuff, right? But I'm in it because I genuinely think it is such a cool little thing, right? It is such a cool little place to put your money. But let's keep on talking. Let's keep on talking about business, right? So ultimately, I think the name of the game for me is why I'm in real estate investing, why I create businesses, why I do any of this stuff, right? It's because of the passive income. The passive income. Oops. Look, you don't have to be really good at spelling and English and all that kind of stuff to make the passive money, right? So the passive income. So what I like to do and say is that money is time. People often say that time is money because they're always trading their time for money. They're going to work and they're getting paid for that hour, and they're like, time is money. I am on the other side of that equation, and I like to say that money is time. I like to pay people to have my time back. Like, I pay my contractor so that I don't have to swing the hammer. And because I'm not swinging the hammer, I am doing what it is that I want to do, whatever that may be. If, let's say, I wanted to go mountain biking, hey, I just went to Florida, right? I just went to Florida, and the whole time I'm in Florida, I'm not at my properties doing the work, right? My net worth is going up because the properties that I own, they're being handled, right? My net worth is going up, but I am not trading my time for that to happen. I am, though, trading my money. I'm trading my money so that I can have the time to go to Florida and do whatever it is that I want to do. Whether it's riding a wave runner and chasing dolphins around the Gulf of Mexico, like, that was crazy. The dolphins are huge, by the way. Like, they would swim underneath the wave runner, and like, you're just like, holy cow, those things are big, man. Like you're like, don't kill me, because they're gigantic, and they're swimming right there. If I wanted to, if I were so bold, I could have jumped off the wave runner and straddled the dolphin and like rode that sucker. But I am not that bold. That thing would have killed me. But trading money for time, this is the ultimate goal. So if you guys are watching, this is the ultimate lesson that I want you guys to really absorb and put into your life. That you want to make that passive income and trade your money for time. I pay people to coach me so that I can be smarter and actually know this stuff faster, because I can spend all day trying to figure it out and learn it and all that kind of stuff, and bounce from here to here to here to here to here until I figure it out. Or I can just pay somebody who knows how to do that thing that I want, pay them for their knowledge, and then voila. Like, now I know it. I paid some money, but it was like the shortcut. It was like in Super Mario Brothers when you go through the pipe and then you pop out the other side, and you're like a thousand levels higher. Like, that's what trading your money is like, right? So I want you guys to flip the script. It's not that time is money, but instead money is time. When you have the money, spend it so that you can have more time. That's what's incredible. Your boss is doing it right now. Your boss is hiring you, paying you money, and in exchange for your time, right? You're trading your time for money. Well, trade your money for time. And I like to say, money is time. The more money you have, the more time you get to buy. So if you can sink that in, all of your actions moving forward, I believe, will start to change. And in this late night business chat during the twilight zone of the Hoan zone, I really, really want to help you guys just have that mentality for the rest of your life so that you can make better decisions, because your whole life is just based off of decision after decision after decision. What are you doing, right? And every decision compounds the next one and the next one and the next one. So you can really lock this one in. If you can lock this one in, that money is time, and that you want to figure out how to create money so that you can have your time back, that's everything. More time with your kids, more time with your family, more time on vacation, more time, blah, 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 blah. Whatever it is that you want to do, you get to do now because you have the time. I just got a text message today, actually, where one of my investor friends was like, hey, dinner on me, let's go, right? And he texts me and this one other guy, and the other guy was like, well, instead of going to dinner, how about we go ride four-wheelers and dirt bikes? And I said, I love that idea, right? So we are going on Wednesday, at 11 a.m. and we're going to be riding from 11 a.m. till whenever on a Wednesday, right? So a couple days from now. Um, and if I were employed, I would be like, guys, I can't go. That's a work day. What do you mean go Wednesday to go ride dirt bikes? But because money is time and I've created passive income, I don't have to go to work. And look, I'm not like this old dude where it's like I work, and I have to wait until retirement. Like, I'm of the age where I can still ride dirt bikes and still really enjoy it. So that's what you want to do. You want to figure this out sooner than later, because if you don't figure it out sooner than later, then you're left with what you're left with. You got to go to work until you retire at the age of 65, and when you're at 65 years old and somebody's like, "Yo, you want to go dirt bike riding?" You're like, "Dude, I'm like I'm like struggling with my walker. What do you mean dirt bikes?" Like, so I don't want you to get to that age. I don't want you to get to that age where you're just like, "Oh man, I can't do anything. I missed all those years of doing all that stuff that you're talking about." So being able to go on a Wednesday on a whim, that's the cool part, on a whim, where somebody's like, "Hey man, do you want to do this?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do want to do this." That's the coolest part. That is the coolest part. So figure out how to create your passive income, because you want to trade your money for time. So money is time. Let me make it even a little nicer, right? And write money for time. I'm going to trade my money for time. Super important skill set. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Hopefully, you guys had a lot of good takeaways. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about during these things, and I just go. I just go because I know that I have a message that I want to get out to you guys, and if I don't get it out to you guys, then you guys won't learn, right? You guys won't have that thing. Um, let me see. Let me change this real quick. So there you go. More important. So money for time. I was able to be on the beach uh, because I traded my money for time to be out there. But I didn't have to trade my time for the money. My assets did it because they generate passive income. If you had any takeaways from this video at all, please share them in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. If you're struggling with anything and I can help, again, share it in the comments. Love to hear it. So that's it for the video, and I will catch you next time, guys. So enjoy the beach. That's terrible. That's terrible. All right, guys. See you later.